Vasavi Love Stories series. This is Kate Northrup, author of Money, a Love Story, and I've been presenting this series as a way to get the conversation going in public about money in a loving, conscious way, because the more of us who talk publicly about it in this way, the more of us will be inspired to heal our relationship with money and to have better lives. So I'm here with Vasavi Kumar. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for asking me, Kate.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Vasavi and I met online a couple of months ago, and she is your kick-in-the-pants guide en route to your desired destination. And she's a certified life coach. She is the co-author of the best-selling book, Succeeding in Spite of Everything. She's been featured on the Wall Street Journal. We both write for thedailylove.com, which I think is probably how we connected. And I know that you've actually had a very interesting money journey. You've hinted at it a little bit in some of our conversations. So I'd love to know from you, just to start off with, what did you learn about money growing up?
So, Kate, first of all, thank you again for having me here. What I learned about money, it's twofold. I actually grew up with mixed messages, okay? So a little background, and whatever we learn about anything starts with our parents, right? Yeah. So my mother, both my parents are immigrants from India, and my mother grew up quite poor. She didn't have a lot of money. They just barely made it, okay? And then she became a doctor. And then her and my dad, they got married and they moved to the United States in 1976. My father grew up in a pretty affluent family. They had cars, they had cooks, they had servants. They're called servants in India. So he grew up with financial abundance. Money was never scarce in his family. So when I grew up, I had two messages. The first was from my mom, where she said, save, save, save. Don't spend it. You don't need to get a massage. You don't need to get your eyebrows done or your mustache waxed. You know, I'm an Indian girl. Listen, I'm hairy. I get a mustache. I get a little beard, goatee, get all of that.
Nice.
But say to me, why do you need to spend your money? You don't need it. My father raised me with the belief with money, you're not going to take that money when you die, so just spend it. Just spend it. So growing up, I mean, it was very interesting because, and then there's one more piece, Kate, you know, I would travel to India every year since the age of 2, and I grew up watching and observing and seeing so much poverty in India. And so on top of these mixed messages, I also had a lot of guilt growing up. I felt very guilty that I never had to worry about money, that I never had to worry about where I was going to get my next meal from. And so, and this is not a blame on my mom, but just the whole, you got to save, there are people in India that are starving. I felt a lot of guilt even having money. It was this, actually my dad calls it this rich guilt. So I had this money, but I felt guilty about having it. So that's really how I was raised, and those are the messages that I received.
That's a lot of different layers. It is, and you articulated it beautifully. This is obviously something you've thought about before.
Yes. And I've had to work through, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd love to know, how did those mixed messages and your rich guilt manifest as you got older and left the nest?
Oh my God, Kate. So first of all, with my dad's messages, it would manifest in a way that I would just be an excessive spender. Because I'm like, well, whatever. I'm not going to take this money when I die anyway, so I might as well spend it. But with my mom's message, I mean, no joke, I love like good cheese, good bread, good wine. I swear, I would be at a Whole Foods, and they would have like the 365 brand of feta, which is like $3.99. Yeah. But then there was this more kind of expensive brand of feta that was $7, which is so much better. And I would feel so guilty splurging on that because I'm like, I don't need that. But the quality is better, the experience of the feta is better. And it would manifest, you know, in my friendships, in my business. For example, if I had a friend who maybe was having money problems, I would have that rich guilt. And then I would just let people borrow money. And guess what? Sometimes, you know, I train myself now. If I'm going to let you borrow money, I'm actually going to just give it to you as a gift and not expect it back.
Exactly.
And so I got caught. And I'm all about helping people. But the place that I was choosing to give from was a place of guilt. And, oh, man, I feel bad that I have this money and you don't. So I'm just going to give it to you. And then it would often end in resentment because the other person, I wasn't in integrity with how I gave it. Yeah. I would give it and not say, hey, when are you going to pay me back? I would just, you know, feel bad about it.
Right. So no clarity around that.
No clarity. Even though in my life, for me, it's really important that if I hire somebody or contract out, I pay you on time or before time. So I had a level of integrity there, but when it came to how other people were with me, I let them off the hook.
It switched, yeah.
Yes.
So tell me then, all your spending, and I think you and I have a similar way of being with money. Sort of our natural state with money is just to spend and to enjoy. And so what happened then? Like what happened next? Take me through the next phase of I don't actually know. Did you get a job? What were you doing before you were a coach?
So I was a professional student. I mean, literally since the time I was in nursery school, I have been in school. I had one job my entire life. I didn't make it. I was 16 years old and I worked at a CVS at Roosevelt Field Mall on Long Island. Right? I made it 2 weeks. And every paycheck that I made, which was one because I was there for 2 weeks, my mom said to me, you have to give me the money. So I didn't have that responsibility around money. I'll be very honest. I did not value money growing up because my father would just give it to me. My mother would, if she were to give me $20, she'd want to know detailed account of how I spent it. Yeah. So I was like, it was like I said, mixed messages. I did not respect money the way I do now. I didn't value money the way I did now. And so my journey was, I was in school. I went through my undergrad. I got my first master's at Hofstra University on Long Island. I lived in India for a year after that, working with survivors of sex trafficking. I came back. I went to Columbia University in New York to get my second master's in social work. I went straight into a coach's training program. So I was born to have my own business. I'm too much of a control freak to have anybody to tell me what to do. And for me, it's like, if I'm going to make money, it's going to be for me, not for you. So, I'm not going to work for somebody else. That's just how I've always been. And because I did not value and respect money, I made pretty poor choices. I don't regret it, but they were not strategic decisions in how I wanted to spend money. I would just invest in everything and not really implement a lot. I just kept thinking I had to work with this person, buy this self-study course, and I was in debt. I think I've mentioned this to you. In my second year of business, I was in $35,000 debt across 2 American Expresses, and I just paid it off, like I said, I think 4 or 5 months ago when I last spoke to you.
Congratulations, it's such a big deal. I
have no credit cards in my wallet. It's amazing.
You don't use credit cards anymore.
So I have 3 that I'm still paying off. The American Express was like my biggest debt, and I have now that it's like I just pay it off. I have like maybe a $5,000 that I got to pay off minimum payment. It doesn't cause any stress. But no, if I don't pay it in cash, I don't buy it. That's for me right now. That's where I'm at. It feels great to have that relationship. Like, if I don't have cash, I'm not going to pay for it right now. And there's no feeling of lack there. It feels great to pay in cash.
That's amazing. So making that choice to spend within your means, you have figured out a way to make it feel good and feel abundant.
It feels good. It feels abundant. It's really a matter of, if I want a pair of shoes and I can't, and I don't mean can't like as in a limiting belief, but it's like it's a matter of fiscal responsibility and priority right now. Where do I want to spend this money that I've worked so hard to earn? Where do I want to spend it? Do I want to invest it in a pair of shoes, or do I want to invest it in my business? And you know what? For me personally, Kate, deferred gratification and just waiting a little bit is so much more exciting than getting it right now.
Cool.
That's just for me.
Deferred gratification for you. Yeah. So as you were starting up your coaching business, obviously coaching is about personal growth and helping others look at themselves, right? Asking great questions. So how did your study of coaching then impact your financial life and help you make some of these changes? Hello.
So nobody knows this landline number, so it's probably a telemarketer. So sorry about that.
No problem. So how did your study of coaching and asking other people really great questions impact your financial life and help you pay off $35,000 and now be living on cash? Like, that's a pretty huge accomplishment.
Thank you very much. So the first thing that I just want to say about that is when you're working with other people, I always say that your clients are your best mirror for yourself. And I just want to add that piece in. And people might be wondering, like, well, how did you get out of debt? You know, many of my clients are in denial. Most people don't want to keep it real with themselves. And so it was a great opportunity. And we talked about this, for me to like look at that bank statement, really look at where I'm spending. And I had to get out of denial over the amount of debt that I was in. And so it was through that work that I was doing with others, with myself, and I realized I was not being honest with myself and my finances. That's really what helped me, because I created a clear plan with my dad. How am I going to get out of this? And it was so easy once I just came to terms with it, and I didn't judge myself for it.
Great.
That was...
So it was telling the truth, not judging yourself, and having help.
Having help, and you said this in an interview that you and I did, having gratitude for the stuff that I've already paid for, like stuff, instead of being like, man, why did I buy that? Being like, you know what, at that time I bought it and I'm grateful for it, versus, man, I'm so dumb, why did I do that? So no judgment, just listen, I had to make these mistakes so I could learn, and now I could teach other people. The way I've been able to pay off the debt, my whole philosophy is all about how can I get my work in as many hands as possible. Okay, and so my focus is mass, always is masses. And for me, how can I take my content, take my knowledge, my wisdom, package it in a way that's still rich, that's still substantial, and still affordable for the average person? Because guess what? The average person may not have $5,000 for a coaching program. Right? So that's really how I was able to get out of debt, is number one, being real with myself, creating a plan, getting help. And as it pertains to in my business and how I run my business, because I think mass, I think more people, and that the money comes in because I'm hitting more people, and the money's coming. And I'm not like scrounging to get 5 people to pay me $5,000. I can hit 300 people at $200 a person.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So and you're helping more people as well.
That's what I'm about.
That's great. That's really beautiful. I love that. I love that. And you sound, it's like clear as a bell, that intention. You know, there's no like, And so you're somebody who comes across like, you know the value of your work. You know that your stuff is good to reach the masses. Was that always the case, or has this self-worth developed over time? So the way my self-worth, it did develop over time. When I got clear about what money really was, that's when my self-worth went up. Because up until that point, right, I had mixed messages. I was like, I don't think I'm good enough. And it really boiled down to my relationship with money. Once I got clear that money is a tool of trade, and that the amount of money that I bring into my life and business is a direct reflection of the amount of value that I'm putting out there. No value, no money, period. If people are not knocking down on my doors and they're not signing up for my list and they're not buying, I'm doing something. It's not anybody else. Because you know what? When you want something, you will pay for it. And so for me, the minute I got clear on what money was and my own relationship with money, my self-esteem went up, my confidence went up, even when I was still in debt. The fact that I was not in denial anymore, and I wasn't sweeping that under the rug, and I got clear about my role and my responsibility. I got clear, you know what, I have something to offer here. And when you're in denial and you're not willing to look at certain things, your confidence level goes down, because you can't lie to yourself, right? We can lie to the world, but we can't lie to yourself. So I now know that, my self-esteem, my confidence, it's unshakable. I know what I have to offer. And I say that with a cheesy smile, because it's a great feeling when you know that. It's so beautiful, yeah. And that is a direct reflection of why you're doing so well financially, and you're really living in an empowered place that way. So thank you so much for sharing your money love story. It's beautiful, and I know it'll just continue to unfold in a beautiful way. So thank you so much. If you want to find out more about Vasavi, please visit her at vasavikumar.com, which is VASAVIKUMAR.com. And if you want more money love stories, visit moneyalovestory.com. When you buy my book, Money, a Love Story, you get free access to my 2-hour online event called A Course in Having Enough, where I'll be joined by guest experts Barbara Stanny, Amanda Steinberg, who founded dailyworth.com, and Marianne Williamson. So head over to moneyalovestory.com, find the money love stories that you want to find, and thank you, Vasavi. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Kate.